if you follow competition, you will die. You will spend so much time wondering or worrying or trying to compare your product to other people that's all you'll end up doing.
Thank you for swinging by Wedding Pros I Know. Anything from marketing to client management, we are here to help your wedding service business grow. Whether you are a photographer or a wedding planner, we will give you the tips and tricks you need to know to help your business prosper. What's going on, guys? Thank you for tuning in today. For those of you who like to watch on YouTube, we are also filming on YouTube. You can follow me on YouTube /Dustin McGee. Today, we are going to be interviewing Binh Dong. Binh Dong, how are you doing, man?
Pretty good. Besides, the spring allergy season.
Yeah, he's if he sniffs a lot and sneezes a lot, we're just going to keep on rolling with it. Just excuse his allergies. It is the very tip of spring. It's starting to get there. So we're just going to keep rolling with it. And he's drinking his green tea or some kind of tea.
Never quit your daydream.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good cup right there. So, Ben, tell me a little bit about your company that you used to own or,
I had a few. I do photography by trade. I've been doing it since I was 15, 16. Whenever high school was, junior in high school. I'm like almost 30 right now.
Wow, that's a long time.
I'm getting old.
That is a long time.
But
awesome.
I started out with a company called Bin's Photography. I closed down that website and Facebook, but my current one was Hampton Roads Photography Group, which I made that to get everybody together and have a team of photographers. So you really can't make a business by yourself. You can, but if you work for yourself, you might as well work for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
You only make money when you hire people and pay them less than. How do you say that? You scale your business.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. So Leah's over there making gestures, trying to make us laugh over there. I guess that's one of the good points that I don't have listed down. But what do you do to acquire better, personnel to work for you? How do you recruit people? What is your skills that you look for?
That was actually one of my downfalls because I'm really picky when I find people. They have to have they have to bring something to the team, and as long as they have something that's good, I always find people that are very detail oriented and kind of hard to find these days.
Mm-hmm.
With everybody, but that's also a thing that it kind of hurt me in the business, and that's why the business is not around anymore. Because there's a point where there's no return on how much time you put in for a job. And being a perfectionist, I found all perfectionists, and we spent too much time on a job. But yeah, that's a little bit.
That's awesome. So, guys, we're going to go over a whole bunch of little questions that I'm going to ask Ben. Hopefully these questions are helpful for you. If they're not, leave a comment, or if you want to hear more questions kind of like this, let me know. So I guess the next question that I have for Ben is, what did you do to promote your services? Because I know there's so many outlets. There's Facebook, there's YouTube now, there's Wedding Wire, there's all kind of websites to promote wedding services. What was your favorite, and how did you do that?
Right now, if I was, doing the weddings, I stopped doing weddings like a lot of weddings like 2 or 3 years ago. But now there's so many services that you can use. The Facebook is a really big one, which I use a lot. But wedding boutiques, you go to the wedding boutique, get a booth, buy a booth, and you just set up a setup and promote your services.
Mm-hmm.
My pro tip for those wedding booths is you want to outsmart and outlook your competition. And a lot of photographers that you run into these wedding venues, they're very traditional, and they have just prints out and books and there's piles of photos on a desk, where my company, we put out a big ass TV, 55-inch TV, and it looked amazing. Video is super great to, I guess, show your work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one of the things we're starting to do a lot more of. We've done a few in the past, like the wedding expos and all that kind of stuff. I'm actually going to recruit you eventually to design my wedding booth, because having a good wedding booth, at least from what I've seen, is the way you attract people in. To getting them kind of throwing out the fish hook and pulling them in. That's what
Oh
you
yeah,
really need.
for sure. Like go back to like the TV thing when I had the 55 inch. And this is and like going back to being a perfectionist. I can't
There you
talk
go.
today.
It's fine.
Going back to
it's the
being a
allergies.
perfectionist, it wasn't just a 55-inch TV. It was a commercial grade, signage grade TV. So the colors were bright and popping. And from across the room, you can be like, oh, what's that over there? Because when you have motion graphics and you have stuff showing on a TV, that does pull in guests from across the room where a regular photograph on a print photograph, on a poster board kind of doesn't do that. Which I've seen people. I've seen modern vendors these days. They put like a 22 inch or maybe like a 32 inch on a table, but when you put something really big out, on a TV stand, it really does show. It does like pull in the guests and pull in the clients, and that's one of my pro tips that I've learned from shooting weddings and advertising for weddings.
Now, one of the biggest things that I struggle with finding is they do swag bags at a lot of vendors. Vendor expos. What did you guys do for swag bags? And do you know what a swag bag is?
Yeah.
Basically, guys, it's a little item that you put in the little swag bag. I think there's like 200 swag bags that they give out to each client or bride or groom. What was your item that you guys went to?
We didn't do swag bags. We had little postcards and business cards, but we never really gave out stuff. The vendors that do give swag bags out or give like pens or cups this is all like, in my opinion, shitty stuff. It's like really cheap, like low quality things. But the goal is for branding. The only reason why they give that out is because when you use that pen, or if you use that pen, because if it didn't break, it shows your logo or your name of the company. And I just don't think that for a local company that's very effective. And I mean, it's cheap, but I mean, if the viewers watching this or the listeners watching this, if you go home and look at your couple pens, like, do those pens with the logos on there really do anything for you? Does that cup that's holding the pens that had somebody's logo on it, does it really do anything for you?
Yeah, that's true. One of the things, because the one wedding expo we're doing in April requires some kind of swag item that you put in the swag bag. One of the things I was looking at is like maybe like a little case of sparklers, but it would have our pyromantic logo stamped on that tag that wraps around. So for one, the guy is going to want to light those sparklers up right away. I guess the girls would too. I mean, the sparklers
I like
are cool.
that idea. I like that idea, but with this, what year are we in? 2018.
2018. It's
That might
almost
come up with
halfway through already.
That might come up with some legal percussions because you'd be liable if something catches on fire, even
Well,
though. This is my take on it. That was one of my things in my company where that killed me. Which, I mean, I was very by the books. It had to be legal. It had to be totally like compliant, and it won't like I didn't want to take on any like responsibility that I didn't need. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, I guess with that being said, that's kind of our job. We are probably the most dangerous job wedding services out there, I'm sure. But that's a good point. I guess it could put on the back of the stamp that we're not liable for any don't light on property.
Use this at your own discretion.
Yeah, something like that. That's a good point, though.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start taking notes.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. If you guys recognize that, Ben also does a lot of vlogging. He has his own channel. At the end of this, we'll plug his channel and stuff like that. But that is a signature Ben move.
Yeah, boy.
I think that covers the. Do you have any other takes on promoting your services?
Promoting services. I mean, your best clients are the ones that I find that are referred because they usually are in the same caliber or the same what do you call it, mindset as what you already shot. When you go to like these wedding boutiques, you get all kind of people.
Yes.
And
yes, you do.
Being a photographer and being in that industry, when you sit down, and I always sit down and talk with the client and get to know the client, because after you get to know the client for like 30 minutes, just sitting down and talking about the wedding and what they want, you'll know if it's going to be a good client that you want to work with, or you probably should stray the other way. And pro tip, if you do turn down a client, just turn them down. Don't say a reason why you turn them down.
Yes, and in the sales war, that's called can't talk now too. It's the allergies. In the sales world, that's called seeing if your buyer is qualified. So that's a good tip. If they're not qualified, don't never. At least that's what I've noticed. Never, if they're coming to you with a really low budget and it's physically not possible to pull off a wedding, they're not qualified. Don't try to lower your services, because then it kind of defeats your services and it doesn't make sense.
Yep. And in the world of photography, we have a bunch of Uncle Joe's or Uncle Dan's, like, yeah, I'll shoot your photos for, like, free. Yeah, and that's the quality you get. So, like, when you advertise for your business and you advertise for I'm talking about photography, you have to tell the clients, or demonstrate to the clients why they should buy your services, not just a pretty photo on a frame or a TV. It's hard to explain this. I don't know. What do you think? Like explaining, like demonstrating why your services are worth the price. And some clients, this is something I could not figure out. Like, how do you explain your worth to somebody that is budget friendly and like you really trying to grind, like, cheap service? Like people that they have the money and they want to pay for it. They see the value of hiring a real photographer or a real vendor. But people like, I want that $300 photo package. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Sometimes I will take and lower the price for somebody, if I know them or if they are really struggling. But most of the time, if you do that, then you kind of get a reputation. Hey, he'll lower his price. Or in my experience, the people that are, they lowball you and they want to have the lowest packages for price, they are the shittiest customers, because they ask for so much, but they want to pay so little.
I've actually had a lot of that. We'll do shows. Our shows start at $2,000. That is, we don't go below that. But they're always trying to knock you down to $1,500. I've actually done a show for like $1,200. I would never do again, because, like you said, that they'll want a lot for that little, say their contract stated it was a 5 to 7 minute or a 3 to 5 minute show. They'll get complained if it's that time frame. They want it longer, or we didn't use the right shells, or they wanted sparklers, nothing that was included in the contract, or it was too windy or something like that. They become more picky. So I do agree with that. Definitely make sure your buyer or your client is qualified to purchase your services. Don't lower your standards for them, because it kind of defeats to me, it's almost like, what is it? What would the term be? Not discriminating your own services, but degrading your own services.
Yeah, I mean, if you do it discretionally and make sure you have a reason to it. Usually, in business, if you if you give the customer a lower price, you gotta take away something. But if you give the same package, like say a $2,000 package for $1,000, you're not gonna not take anything away from the customer. You gotta take something away from that package so they know, hey, I'm getting this price because I'm not getting this in the package.
And what I've noticed, for at least what we do, is we very rarely lower prices. We always add value. So if they say, okay, $3,000 is too much, can you go down to $2,500? My next step is to add in something like, we do the Snapchat filters. We're throwing a Snapchat filter. We're throwing sparklers. We're throwing T-shirts, whatever, to add value. We don't want to lower our price. That's a lot of companies. That's their first thing to do, is lower price. To me, I think you should add some kind of value, and then if they still don't take the deal, then you can lower it. But I would say never.
The only time, like, on top of being picky about lowering prices, if you're new to the industry, then yes, you probably can haggle. But if you have a foot in the your groundwork already done, I don't see actually why you're watching this. And if you are like established, don't haggle.
Yeah, that's a good point. Cool. I think that's all on that topic. The next question I have is, what are some of the challenges, the largest or smallest challenges that you had in the photography field? Because I know, there's, just like any industry, there's a lot of struggles. So what was your largest or smallest one that you had?
That's a hard one because like I don't think we ran into any problems besides my team. We all had full time jobs outside of shooting photos, so like trying to schedule things for like these weddings or the special events or the portraits. Our schedules had to align, or we had to put in for off. But I mean, hold up, sneeze coming.
Uh-oh.
Woo! Oh
He's
god.
gonna sneeze. I probably won't even edit it. I'm just gonna let it roll. While you sneeze, I'll keep talking.
Yeah, this is a great second episode. The dog is dying. That's a hard question. Photography wise, I mean, there's really no struggles or challenges because if you know your art, you know your art.
Yeah.
Now, if you're a new photographer or new in the wedding industry, then you probably would find it hard. Like, okay, maybe I can go back to my very first weddings and all that and those struggles. Just getting to know how a wedding works. Like, after you shoot enough, okay, it's pretty much the same thing over and over. Just a different location. But, yeah, getting the shot list and getting with the clients, I mean, all of that is learned with any industry.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing I've noticed in the past 5 years of doing weddings is dealing with how weddings work and note it. It's not just a typical, if you guys are in that typical firework industry, you guys go set up a show and that's it. With the wedding industry, there's certain time periods when you can shut up the show. You don't want to be in the photo shot. There's a whole bunch of little nitty gritty things that you can't do. But yeah, definitely know the wedding industry is a big thing.
You don't have to know it. It's just you'll learn over time.
Yeah, I agree. That rolls into our next question is, it's not our big issue right now, but how do you guys deal with competition? Because I know the wedding industry is getting huge.
I like this one because this one goes for like anything art wise.
Yes, I know with our services, it's not too saturated right now, but I know it's going to become more saturated. And we have things in place to prepare for that. But what do you recommend for competition? How did you deal with it? That kind of stuff.
For you, your industry, you like what, fireworks and all that. You're kind of niche. And you don't have much competition. But for us photographers, there's a whole bunch of competition out there. There's like Uncle Joe's, Uncle Dan, Uncle Bob shooting photos. You even got high school people trying to shoot photos for like $50. But the way I see it, if you follow your competition, you will die.
That's a quote.
Yeah, if you follow competition, you will die. You will spend so much time wondering or worrying or trying to compare your product to other people that's all you'll end up doing. And the worst thing is, like, this is like the cell phone debate. Like, everybody trying to copy Apple, and no one really succeeds copying Apple. Like, why do it?
They're too worried about catching up when they actually get behind.
Yes, create your own style and roll with it. The only thing that you would use competition for is, seeing where you stand within your community, within your demographic. Like, should you be charging this much when I, don't shoot as good as so? If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Like, if somebody has like 30 years of experience and you are like so like ooh and ah about their photography or their artwork, like, should you be charging that like their price? Like, I mean, because even though like I say not to compare yourself to other people, but you still have to have a baseline of where you are in the industry, because if you charge too much, you're not going to get any people. If you charge too little, then people are going to not value your services. But use the competition to place where you are with other people, but not use a competition. Don't use a competition to critique your own work.
Yeah, don't use a competition to basically see where you stand as a business. That's at least what I noticed. Because there's a few small firework companies, I'm talking very small, where it's their hobby. That I don't really classify as competition, but as I said, I think it's going to be competition once larger companies see that there is some cash flow in weddings. So that's a good advice though. Don't focus on them because you end up losing.
There's always money in weddings. It's just you gotta know where you stand. Because if you charge $50 for a wedding, I mean, you can undercut everybody so much, but you're gonna be working a lot for one. Because honestly, weddings are the most time consuming and most work of any photo services that a photographer can offer. So don't undervalue your services, but don't overvalue your services because you always want to. You want to hold up. Let me find that word. You want to over deliver and undercharge. You never want to overcharge and under deliver because when you do the overcharge and under deliver, everybody knows because you know how social media is. Like this guy sucks,
Mm-hmm.
and this is. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's you notice a lot of sales guys do that. You classified as a crappy car salesman that upsells, that claims there's a racing transmission in your car, but it's really not. Something like that.
Yeah, but that's sales 101 though. I mean, don't lie to the guests.
Oh yeah,
Don't lie to the client, but know your product.
yeah, that's good advice. Awesome. All right, next question I do have is, what were your favorite parts about your services? What did you enjoy? That kind of stuff.
What I enjoy? Okay, so like weddings, it's a love-hate relationship. Because like every time I shoot a wedding, I'm like, oh, I want to get married someday. This is so pretty. But then like outside of the wedding, I'm like, yeah, I'm never gonna get married. Nope. Why did anybody spend this much money for an hour worth of their time?
Yeah.
But what was the question again?
What was your favorite things? Not the things you hated. I'll ask that later. What were your favorite things about? Or unless you want to start, let's go on, since you're already on that mindset. What did you hate about not necessarily hate, but didn't enjoy? And we all have things about our job or our services or business we hate. What was your thing that you hated?
I don't know. I wouldn't have done it if I hated it. Hated the photo side. Like I don't believe
it's not necessarily you hated your job. I mean, you have to have some kind of passion in order to stay motivated. But there's small things that irk you and kind of you wish you could fix, but you can't.
I'm thinking. I mean, things you can't fix.
Or things you can fix.
Things you can't fix in the photo thing is missing a shot. And once you miss a shot, you never miss that shot again. I'll tell you that one thing. Oh boy.
Do you have a story on that or?
Not really. I mean, it's just random things that you should have shot but you didn't shoot. I've learned sometimes they ask for like one photographer because they didn't want to pay for a second one. Or sometimes they ask for two photographers. But if you're shooting by yourself, I mean, you can't focus on the bride and the groom at the same time. But in a wedding, you always focus on the bride. I have very strong opinions about this, but I mean, if you miss every shot for the groom, no one would care. But there'll be that always that one couple that, hey, you didn't get the reaction of the groom.
Well, you
only hired for one photographer.
Yeah.
I mean, usually don't run into that much, but this is a hard question. I'm gonna sneeze again.
Uh-oh. While he's sneezing, I'm going to try to shield the microphones.
Oh, God. I'm dying.
Uh-oh.
This is going to be a great episode, guys. What do you guys think? Leave a comment down below or leave a comment wherever he posts this podcast.
It's going to be, actually, I'm going to have it on the Apple Podcast, Stitcher, whatever else. It's, like I said, guys, it is also on YouTube. So if you guys want to see us, I mean, if you want to see us, Ben has his polo on. I'm kind of dressed up too. So if you guys want to watch on YouTube, you guys can.
Oh yeah.
So did you answer that question, or do you want to?
I don't think I answered that question.
We need a skip button.
I'm hard. Yeah, the skip button. Skip.
What did you enjoy? Was there like a particular wedding that you became most fond about, or something like that?
Every wedding is different, and I like them all. But I enjoy it because usually all weddings are happy. I haven't run into any weddings where a fight broke out, and if one did, that'd be the best wedding ever. And my first viral wedding video. Because I'm gonna be whipping out that iPhone, boy, taking that video.
He's the guy.
Yeah, 1 star. But no, I haven't ran into any of those kind of weddings yet. Weddings are usually happy, at least the ones I ran to.
Yeah, I don't think I've had any terrible weddings. The only really weird wedding I did have, I don't know if I told you this story, but one of the brides that I had, they're about to pay the last 50% because I charge 50% at the time of contract
Yep.
and then 50% at the 30 days before the show. Well, at like 40 days before the show, her dad died right before her wedding, and he was supposed to pay us. So I didn't know what to do. I was like, do I charge him or what? But she was actually ready to cancel the whole wedding altogether. But we ended up not charging her the second 50%, just to kind of be nice. But that was kind of the weirdest situation because her dad died like literally 40 days before her wedding.
The only thing that I've had is I remember like 1 or 2 bridezillas, but most of the time you can catch the stress levels and how they handle stress in talking to them in the client, client vendor talk.
Bridezillas.
Bridezillas. We should make a movie.
Starring?
I don't know.
But yeah, so I guess, do you have a favorite? Did you answer that question or did you deflect
know.
it? He's great at deflecting questions and us not knowing.
I mean, it's a hard question. Like my favorite or my hated or my not liked. I just don't know. I'm kind of like for me, I'm kind of it's a ghost.
No, it's not. It's an air freshener. Just shout out stuff.
I'm more one of those things like on the whim. So if I'm pissed off at something, it's gonna be at that moment, and like after that hour or day, I'm like, okay, whatever. Yeah, that's a hard one.
Okay.
I don't have any specific examples of like things that are my favorite, or I mean, shooting photos. Like when I do that at a wedding, I'm like, yeah, this is my dream, and I probably should leave my job for it. But one day, because that's not art is not a consistent paycheck.
Well, I guess that's a question. Do you foresee yourself going into the wedding industry as far as video and photography, or is that something?
I shoot weddings right now as hey, my friend does weddings, like referrals.
So you're like the Uncle Bob right now.
Yeah, I'm Uncle Bob. They have a lot of experience shooting weddings.
Uncle Ben, Uncle Dong.
But if I go back into it like full time, I probably do more video because even when I was shooting shooting photos at weddings, I see more video, like shots, because like weddings are dynamic. It moves, where photos are just still, which you can show motion in photos, but it's still not as like. I should have gotten to video. Wait, and I could charge more. And the video world is not as saturated as the photo world now.
So maybe that's an opportunity to.
Yeah,
I think you can. I know right now we're almost completely booked every weekend of starting in May until the end of the year. We're seriously getting booked. So I think it's possible for the entrepreneur that wants to do it full time. I think it's definitely an opportunity.
for sure.
But it's nice having that solid. I think that's the reason why we both have full-time jobs right now. It's just that extra security of having a full-time job and the benefits, and just in case something happens with either one. If you can get laid off.
It's a consistent paycheck.
You can get laid off. You can get laid off at work anytime, or your business can be sued and you lose everything.
All I know is if I ever get laid off, or if I lose that job that I have right now, I ain't finding another job. I'm gonna be doing photos.
Yeah, see,
something I should have done 10 years ago.
That's a good kick in the butt to get busy though too. So Ben, what are your thoughts on Wedding Wire? I know a lot of people use them. A lot of people hate them. I use them, but strictly just for the back end of the
for companies. It's not that great because I feel like they're on a scheme where the more you pay, the better they serve you. So it's like until you pay a lot of money, you won't get much leads. And I feel like Wedding Wire is more geared towards the couples, not the vendors.
There's a sneeze.
Oh God.
Does that hurt your chest? No.
I'm grabbing it.
Well, the only reason I use Wedding Wire is because of the back end of things, the client management, they have the portals they can log in, and my clients can log in and get their invoices, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I never used that part. I tried Wedding Wire a little bit, but I didn't see the benefit to the cost. Like all the back end that they did offer, I had everything on my website. I used WordPress, the back end, to host all of that.
Interesting. With that being said,
I'm dying over here.
He's dying. With that being said, one of the biggest issues we have is we'll finish up with the couple, and we'll send out the review request. That can be, you can use reviews from Facebook or Wedding Wire or whatever. It doesn't matter. But what did you guys do to get reviews? Because I know, at least with us, I guess they don't want anything to do with you after their wedding. They kind of like we'll send out requests for reviews, and we'll maybe get 80% of them to take a review, but the other 20% doesn't want anything to do with them.
Yeah,
even though you did a good service.
If you request for review, you probably should offer a something in return for that review. You're right. Most people don't care as long as they're content with the stuff. Most of our reviews on Wedding Wire is people that I knew or people that I got close to because of the wedding. But I never had a negative review. But I feel like this generation and this society is, if it's bad, they'll say something.
Exactly. It's better not to hear anything versus hear something.
Yeah,
at least
getting that review is...
It's tough for us. I mean, it's not like we provide a crappy service. It's just, I guess they just kind of forget. Now, we have the ecstatic people that will literally log on as soon as the show is done and leave us a review or call or text me or something like that. But I guess that's not rare. It happens
I feel like Facebook right now, the way it's set up, is more geared for that because most people on Facebook. Wedding Wire is a random website, third-party website where people don't surf it that much. So, because if you watch all these vendors and photographers and people that are in the industry, a lot of the reviews are on social media, on Facebook.
Well, I do have I have the widget. I guess that's how you say it,
widget
that attaches to Facebook from Wedding Wire. So they can be on our Facebook page and see our reviews that are on Wedding Wire. I don't know how accurate, like how that works, but you know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Wedding Wire, and they didn't help me, so I don't really care for them.
Yeah. Again, this is not sponsored, and we don't work for the Knot or anything like that. It's, what are your takes on the Knot?
I never used the Knot.
I used them a little bit, but I didn't get very good customer service, honestly. Yeah.
I didn't really use any services to promote my services. Most of my services, a lot of people knew me in the area. So, like, when you start going to all these events, getting to know the vendors, getting to know the venues, getting to know wedding planners, like, a lot of my business came from wedding planners that, they referred me. And it's like, once you know the people in your industry or in your area, then you'll get jobs that way. And I think that's more powerful than a service or a business trying to make money off of a business.
What did you do to, I guess this comes back to one of our original questions, is promoting your services. What did you do for client like inquiries? Did you go door to door, knock on venue's door? Did you call them? Did you email them? What was your best method to take?
I think that was one of the downfalls of my setup was we didn't push for jobs. They came to us. I mean, once you get a name in the beginning, it was like, if you see something on Facebook or social media, like people got engaged and they push you, like, hey, I can shoot you a wedding for you. But once you get to know people in your area, in your industry, in the wedding industry, they'll refer you.
I would say right now, at least 75% to 80% is all referral. We don't get much generation from social media, or we get some from Wedding Wire, but it's like four leads a month or 4 leads a year or something. Nothing that's going to make a difference.
For advertising your business, I can tell you this one thing here. Your personality goes very far when talking to people and advertising your company, because the shittiest photographers or the shittiest businesses get the most leads and most business because they're very personable. They can sell that product. Like, I see some of these photographers on Facebook, like, wow, they're getting a lot of work. But if you look at their photos, like, okay, this is like subpar work. But when you meet them in person, like, wow, they're bubbly and they can sell a product. They can sell that that $100,000 Corvette to that 85-year-old lady.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
The best gig in the wedding industry is the DJ. They get in, get out, and they don't have to worry about anything afterwards. No setup before, no setup afterwards, because they know their stuff. Like you got set up before. You gotta gather product, and for a photographer or any artist, you got a lot of post processing to do afterwards. So make sure if you in your price of your package, make sure you have that hourly charge after the fact in your package. You don't have to tell the guest, the client that you're doing that, but you gotta factor that in.
How many hours does it normally take you to, like a full wedding shoot? What does it take you to?
I can do everything in one day, maybe 8 hours. But if I get really picky, I can do stretch it over a whole week.
Wow, so it's like 40 extra hours of editing. That's pretty cool.
A lot of big photographers that scaled their business. That's the word I'm looking for. That scaled their business. They hire somebody for like $2 to do that stuff, and you pay them a little and you charge the client more. That's how you scale a business. But if you outsource your editing, it's always better. But then again, you don't have full control.
Yeah, that's true. Cool. The next question I do have for you is from the outside looking in to Pyrotechniques. I mean, you and I have been friends for a while. From the outside looking in, what can you see that I do to promote my services better? Would it be social media? Would it be video? Would it be photography? What would you say? It can be you can be mean as possible to me too. Like,
I've been saying this for a while, that you need content for your business, because the content you have right now isn't that great. There's a few good photos, but it doesn't really show what you can do.
Okay, so
you should do a documentary. I think we talked about that before.
I think we do. We need to do that.
Yeah,
let's do that soon.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know your industry, but I'm sure no one else is like having that done.
No, all the photos I get are taken from the photographers, and in certain contracts I'll put like, hey, whatever the wedding photographer takes of our services, we want a photo of that as well.
This is the age of video too, so if you get a really gnarly shot or video of a firework display, that might go viral, and with your name attached, there you go.
You actually saw this video last night. For real, I was watching videos about wedding fireworks, and I found one that had like 1-point-something million views, and literally it was just the bride and groom doing their first dance.
Yeah,
some low-lying fog, and then there's a spark waterfall, and that was it. And that had so many views, and like people were liking it. It had like
with your niche, you have a lot of opportunity for like viral videos. As a photographer, the only things I see that goes viral for photographers is if they do a video on like some kind of disease or a medical issue, or if they failed, or if they like face plan something. Or I've seen this video where like I think it was like, do you like nude photographs, and the photographer rolls around in the grass with the camera nude. I mean, it went viral, but it's there's definitely not as much outlets for have viral content like fireworks.
Well, for me, and I think all of our team members can agree with, it's very hard to think we're worried about setting up a perfect show. We're worried about providing our services 100%. That's our 100% focus, is making sure our show goes perfectly. Making sure everything's wired, making sure everything's set up. Our focus is not getting a perfect video or a perfect photo or something like that. Would you recommend us pay somebody, like a third-party person, to do it, or?
See, that's kind of that is actually touchy waters, because if the couple has hired a photographer, most of the time you cannot hire another photographer to shoot that wedding or shoot with that wedding. Most established people, even in my contract, if another photographer shows up that is clearly shooting the wedding alongside with you, I am able to leave because you broke contract. But you would have to get with the client, your client, to see if their vendor has a clause like that.
I have to do that.
Yep.
I'll have to do that. So,
or if another way around that is, make sure their photographer knows that you hired a photographer just for you, not for the wedding.
Okay. I might do that. Or I might just give all my team members a decent photo or a decent camera and tell them to set it up. That their pay will be docked if they don't. No, I'm just kidding. They have to set the camera
Shoot videos,
up,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's so. Your advice would be, I need more content.
Need more content. You can't market without content.
That's very true.
Words only go so far.
Yeah, and that's some of the things that I'm doing now. I wish I would have done 4 years ago. I'm sure you feel the same way about.
Oh
video.
yeah.
I wish I would have done this when I started the business, but that's the fun thing about being an entrepreneur or a business owner. You learn. You can't worry about the past. You got to worry about tomorrow.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, boy. So, getting more content. That's my take on that question. That's what I need to do.
That's what I see looking at your stuff, because I don't know anything else besides what I see, and you don't have much content.
The other question I have is, if you had to go back and change something within your business, what would your thing be that you changed?
You know, I started the Hampton Roads Photography Group, my second business, because I had a seasonal job. I had a 6 or 10 month job, and I was at school at ODU, and I was like, okay, this is a one way to make extra money, which it did, but it's like maybe I shouldn't have got a full-time job and just focused on doing the business, because I think any entrepreneur will tell you this: you can't focus on both.
Yes,
you have to leave the full-time job or leave your 9 to 5 to focus on the business, because a business is 24/7.
It really is, though. And that's actually a good point. A lot. It's always a question with the bigger entrepreneurs like Gary Vee and Grant Cardone, and they both have two opposite opinions about this. At what point do you see leaving your full-time job to put 100% into your business? What is that number, or what does that look like for you?
It depends. On some people, if they have nothing to lose, then leave your job now. If you are worried about money, I like being steady, so I like living a comfortable life, and having a steady paycheck with a full-time job gives me that, pays the bills, and I guess the way I see it, if you're not focusing on the business 24/7, it's a hobby, and you use your hobby to fund your extra things. But what was the question again?
Nice, man. At what point do you see?
Oh yeah, to leave your job.
To leave, because I know like Gary Vee and Grant Cardone, they both have opposite opinions about this. You know, Gary Vee is all about, if it's your passion, screw your job, you can always get another job. You know, Grant Cardone says you stick with that job until your business is making double of what you currently make at your job, like cash flow, not
I do agree with that in a way.
Which one?
And that's both in a way, but because here's the question: what if you're doing what you like at your job? Because like I do, but the monetary thing is, like I could have left work, because with that business and my photos on the side outside of the business, I made enough to leave, but like it's not steady. I don't know.
It's just a big question for a lot of entrepreneurs.
It is a big question, and
because I know with me, like you said, having that steady income is great. For me, the business is becoming more and more steadier, and I'm looking at it saying, okay, it's cash flowing enough for me to cut myself an X amount of salary that I'm making currently at my current employer. But it's the other stuff that I'm looking at, like the health insurance. I don't mess around with the 401k, but I don't know. It's a big leap for a lot of people.
Health insurance, people say it's expensive, but in the long run, I mean, you can find stuff like $10,000 to $20,000 for a year for yourself. But I mean, 'cause if you look at the cost like a company pays, it's doable.
Yeah.
If you're pulling in enough money.
Yeah. So I guess,
and if you scale your business, you can pay for it. That's not a big deal. And if you're in some of these organizations, they can offer you health insurance too. But that is a good point. Why a lot of people stay with their job is for the health insurance, for a steady paycheck. And I don't know. For me, I don't know when I was gonna leave my job. What will be the point of my business when I leave? I don't know. It's definitely monetary for sure.
Yeah. For a lot of people, I'm sure, like, you can pick up any job, but I have to be happy with my job. Like, so say if I do leave my full-time employer, and something with the business, because I mean I run a fireworks display company. We can easily, one show could screw up our entire business. I have lawyers and stuff like that now that can fight us. I didn't have that from the start. But with that being said, like, say if I do, go full-time business and something happens with the business, I had to jump back in the industry. I don't want to settle on a job that just pays, and doesn't actually trigger my arts and trigger what I like to do. So I guess that's probably a lot of people's biggest scare. And that's why I'm asking these questions, because there might be somebody listening that wants to do their business full-time and doesn't know when to step out of their...
That is good. I mean, with any business, there's always liability and there's always risk. But you shouldn't be making your sole income off of that business. You should have more things that pull in money.
Yes, and
than just the business.
There's a lot of things that can make you a little extra trickles of money.
Oh yeah, like a lot of people, they do the 9 to 5, they do the full-time job, and they go home and do nothing with their life. I mean, there's so many things you can do to make extra money. And a lot of people ask me, like, how do you afford this and this and this? Because I do other things. I don't go home and play games, or I go home and watch movies. And, the people that do that, I'm not saying they're wrong for doing that, but it's funny because some of those people that do that are the ones that say, hey, I don't have money, or I need to work,
that is
all
funny.
that.
The people buying, like, I don't smoke weed, but they're people that, buy pounds of weed a month and cigarettes a month, and then they complain that they don't have money, and it's like, cut habits out that cost you and start making some money.
My biggest habit is my food. Yeah, boy.
He's got a little food baby over there. He's been brewing that for
29 years.
29 years. But that's a good point. Definitely do what you love, but know when to step out of your full-time.
Definitely do what makes you happy. But I can't answer that question. Like, when should you leave a job? And that's sole discretion of the person.
My take on it's all case by case scenarios. You can't. I would love to set a financial goal of when somebody should step out, but it's all different for people. Everybody makes different money. But I will tell you the best advice I could say is I would have at least, what would you say, 3 years worth of stockpile nest of just in case something happens, so you can cover your rent, all your bills for at least 3 years.
3 years for your salary is a lot.
It is a lot, but
I mean, if I had 1 year saved up, I'd say do it, but make sure you have a plan with your business. Not making the plan for your business when you left. So you definitely have to have a fallback, and the fallback should be the business, but it should be the business plus other things. Like, there's other things you can do to make money.
Yes, exactly. Cool. Well, I think that's all I have. How can people follow you, Ben?
They can follow me on YouTube, youtube.com/BinhDong, BinhDong, or hashtag Twitter, Instagram.
Oh yeah, have you started the
Snapchat?
I think you can. Can you trademark hashtags? No, I think you can.
I don't know.
Trademark.
Oh yeah.
Hashtag. Oh yeah. But yeah, guys, please reach out to Ben. I hope this episode was fun for you guys. Hope you learned something. If you guys have any more questions, you can comment below. I know Ben is over there sniffing and hacking. Can you comment? Can you comment on Apple?
I have no clue. I actually don't listen to many podcasts.
I listen to a lot of podcasts, surprisingly.
All the podcasts that I listen to is all on YouTube.
Well, there is that now. I've actually cut down my podcast usage because of YouTube, because we both have YouTube Red, and you can lock the screen or do other things on your phone, and the video or whatever you listen to still continues. But again, guys, you can follow me on YouTube. That is /Dustin McGee on YouTube. Follow Ben /BinhDong with an H, BINH, right?
Yeah,
Dong.
BINH.
And then we are both on all the social media platforms. My Snapchat is Dustin L McGee. Instagram's the same. Facebook's the same. Dustin L McGee. Reach out to me if you have any questions about this episode, or if you, mainly if you guys have any questions about it. I'm sure I can meet up with Ben again, and we'll do a part 2 if people have a lot of questions in the future.
I have a lot of things I can say, but until you invoke that out of me or ask me those questions, I really don't know what to say.
Yeah, so maybe this will trigger a second episode. So again, leave your comments below. or wherever you're watching, and let us know what those questions are. Ben, do you have any closing remarks for the listeners and the viewers?
Oh yeah.
I knew that was coming, man. Yeah. But yeah, I would say I think that's your motto right now. You say just find. What is your motto? It's just find something you're passionate about and just do it, or something. Or just do it.
Oh yeah. I mean, besides my oh yeah, that's everybody knows me for. You know, when I was in college, this guy taught me like, if you have an idea, roll with it. And if I knew that 10 years ago, wow, I'm old. If I knew that sooner, then I probably would have rolled with it. Because I have so many ideas, but I overthink a lot of things.
Yeah, I think that, and that's one of the things about this podcast. I wanted to do it for months now, and it's taken me forever.
Yeah.
I'm starting to become really just procrastinating
Just
and being
do it.
picky. Just do it.
The more you do it, the better you get.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I noticed that with the vlogging, and hopefully with this podcast, it's going to get better and better and better.
Oh yeah, for sure.
If you watch my previous YouTube videos, they look like crap. I think the editing was good on a few, the ones that really took time on, but they're getting better.
Oh
and
yeah.
Same with his. I watched some of his like old videos.
Yeah, my old YouTube videos are very cringy.
Yeah, very cringy, and
They're still cringy, but they're not as cringy.
his clickbait, like I hate Apple and stuff like that. I watched that video a few times.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. If you guys have questions, just leave them or PM us or whatever. Like I said, we're all over the social media, so reach out to us. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you guys learned something, please let me know. I don't know how podcasts work, but if you can leave a review, thumbs up at whatever you do nowadays. Again, this is on the Apple Podcast platform. It's going to be on Stitcher and YouTube. I think that's the only 3 main ones that I'll go for right now. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more, and peace out.